What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So we're back with episode 3 of The Defenders. Bit of review on it. Worst behavior. And it was pretty cool. I think probably the best episode so far. It had a lot of fight scenes. There was some cool, definitely some cool stuff, when you start seeing all 4 of them fighting at once, like we did at the end. It was very cool. I liked it a lot. Probably it started off really strong when it sort of showed off what Elektra's kind of gone through, like what they did with the whole reanimation thing, like the ritual they go through when they reanimate the bodies and stuff, and kind of bring people back to life. But we also found out that why Alexandra's kind of pressed for time here. So the resources that they use to bring people back to life, they've run out. And they don't have any more of it. So they used the last of it on Elektra. So that means Alexandra, she's running out of time. She's got no more time, obviously, because if she's got months or weeks, she has to get this stuff done now. So that could mean that what's being kept behind the wall that has all the Kunlun stuff on it could be the stuff that they use to keep themselves alive. They keep the whole rebirth stuff. I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, it could be that. It could potentially be that, like kind of like a fountain of youth type thing. So that they answered some questions there, and they answered some questions through the entire episode, which I thought was really good. They did some cool stuff with Luke and Danny, because they obviously they had the fight, and Luke had he went home and he's putting ice on his chin and stuff, and he describes what happens to Claire, and Claire's like, "Y'all gotta be kidding me." She's like, rings up, I think probably Colleen, and like, yeah, your guys punched my guy. We need to get these two together and, make nice and stuff, and, put them on the same team. Bit of a play date for the two of them, what it seemed like. And it was interesting. It was an interesting sort of meeting between the two of them. Definitely hostile. Kind of went, they kind of mellowed out for a bit there, like when Danny was telling him about how he got his powers from a dragon, and, Luke kind of like being like any normal person, be like, "Yeah, right, man. Yeah, right. Like, come on, seriously." And yeah, just them trying to work it all out, but then it kind of all broke down when Luke kind of turns it on Danny, and Danny sees anyone who works for the Hand as really a bad guy. Like they're the Hand, they're the worst. They gotta be destroyed. Like that's what they are. Where Luke sees a kid from Harlem who's just trying to, make ends meet, and he's in a bad situation. So you got two people very conflicting, points of view coming at each other. So that made for quite a hostile end to the end of the scene. They didn't come out of this buddy. Definitely not come out of this buddy. So that was a bit. It was an interesting way to end the scene. But you saw it coming. Like he called Danny privileged, which he was. He was a rich boy before he was the Iron Fist. So, but that kind of spurs Danny on to remember that he does have a multi-billion-dollar company, which was a little weird. It was like you sort of see the light bulb go off, like, "Oh yeah, I do have that company now, do I?" That sort of thing. I was like, wait. You've never thought to use the resources from your own company? Okay. It was a little weird. Kind of typical Danny, like typical Danny Rand, like just kind of a bit of a space case sometimes, just not really all there. Kind of he's been trained a certain way, and he doesn't really look outside of that. So when he realizes he has things, he's like, "Oh yeah." And basically, and he sort of sits in this motion of using his company to go after Alexandria's company and like kind of expose them and all that, and he they go into all that, and that's sort of around till the end. Meanwhile, this is all happening. Matt and Jess are having their own sort of I guess thing. Like they're in the police station. Matt's kind of like, yo, I know about Kilgrave and all that. So if you know any weird stuff happening, I'm the guy to talk to. And just kind of like flogs him off and stuff. But it kind of sets in motion, she's sort of, she goes to the widow of the guy and, she wants to, start investigating a lot of stuff. And, she looks at the architect, where he worked and all this stuff. And they realize that, he was the architect for the building he basically built the hand headquarters in New York. He was the architect that built it. And underneath, I think that's where they blew up. That's where the Kunlun wall is and where they're trying to get into. So, that's probably why why the architect, he kind of clicked on to it. Like what was going on. And, the hand probably threatened him and all that. And then kind of weirdly, you see this sort of follow scene where you think Jess is being followed. And I thought Matt was just following her. I thought, oh, okay, like Matt's just keeping an eye on her to thing. And, they cut to Jess looking around, like kind of like she's being followed. And then you see Matt. And then you realize it's not Jess being followed. It's actually Matt being followed. And I guess she probably got intrigued that Matt knows like a lot about like the Kilgrave stuff and all that, but like why are you following him? I guess she maybe got intrigued by him, but it was kind of weird. And then like obviously she sees like he cuts through an alley and then does like parkour up an alleyway and stuff, and she gets to catch a photo of him. It was a little bit of a weird scene. It's a bit of a weird scene, but as a way of Matt kind of introducing like what he can do to Jess. So that was kind of cool. And they kind of follow each other throughout this entire episode, like all the way up to like the bit right at the end, where they all get to fight with each other. So that was cool. Another badass scene was the scene with frickin' Stick. Stick, dude, the dude is just a freaking old badass, man. He's trapped, and then he, they're about to torture him to see, because they want the Iron Fist. Because the Iron Fist is the key. We all knew that right from the start when they're like, oh yeah, it's actually a doorway, and what's the one thing that Kunlun, like, idolizes? The Iron Fist. So, I knew that was coming. But, they're interrogating him, trying to find out where the Alexandria and Electra's, got him sort of pinned with swords and stuff, trying to find out where Danny is. And, Stick realizes it's Electra, and he tries to convince her, kiddo, don't listen to her, she's full of crap and all this. And, she's not listening. But he manages to get a sword, like, manages to get free enough. And then to get free, he chops off his hand. Chops off his hand, just boom, straight off, boom, fights his way out, up the duct and out the door. He's gone. Dude is an old badass. Old badass. Straight up. I knew he was a badass from the start, but damn. Damn. And he managed to get away from all of them. With one hand. And like basically like sort of slaps, I think he slapped Alexandria with the stub of his hand that he just cut off. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And then I guess it sort of comes to the end of it where, each of them all figure out, where the sort of the hand headquarters is, and they all meet up. Well, Danny gets there first because he wants to use Rand Industries to kind of expose the hand and what's going on and all that. Then they then, they sort of like all laugh at him and like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We're just going to capture you. And he's fighting away. Then Luke comes in, and Luke figured it out because he saw the money from the kid in the jail that he was giving to his mom, on the scratchy stuff in the box that he had. So he comes in and like he starts fighting, and Jess figured out that the from the architect, like the building that they created. So she's down there, and Matt just followed Jess. So it was like they all managed to get there. And that's the scene that we see in the trailers where, Matt puts on Jess's scarf and they all fight in the hallway. So it was a really cool sort of final scene to it. Like, finally we get to see these four all fight together. I hope we get to see a little more out of them. Like, obviously this is just a taste of it. So we'll see a big epic fight hopefully later on. But I want to see a little more out of Jess. Just kind of like just threw a couple of guys around. Like, she's got more strength than that. So hopefully they show that off a little more. I was happy with, Danny and Luke kind of fighting together. Like how Danny kind of uses Luke as a bullet shield. It's what he's good for. Matt, for some reason, parkoured all the way up the stairs while Jess just used the elevator. If I was Jess, I'd be like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you running up the stairs? You could just use the elevator. It's an amazing thing. But that doesn't look as cool. So. But I think the best part of all that fighting was when Matt was fighting Elektra. And, he didn't know it was Elektra right from the start. But they're going at it and all that. And, Matt can keep up. I just don't think he has the strength. Elektra's got far more strength now that she has, the black sky sort of stuff is completely awakened to her. So she's got far more strength than he does now. But it was cool to see the whole fight with them and the flips and all that. Like, that's always been the good thing about, Daredevil and like even Iron Fist and all that. The fight scenes have always been good, and you always have like the great choreograph and all that. It's all flips and stuff. It's all awesome. It's great. It's really, really cool. And yeah, you see them go at it, and then he realizes that it's Elektra, and basically Danny comes in and saves him with the Iron Fist, shatters her swords, and she goes flying, and they bug out. And it was a good first step for them, like to see them fight all together. It was really, really cool. I think that was like the highlight. It was the highlight of the episode. So spot on. I think they did a good job there. I mean, overall, the way the series is going, we're getting near the middle of the series, so we're starting to get to that point where it's going to have to really start kicking into gear, getting going. These four are going to have to stick together, I think, from now on, really. They might split up a little bit, but, eventually the bad guys will, initiate, so like Order 66, like the big thing right at the end, so we'll see. We'll see how they all go, but story-wise, it's ticking along well. They're keeping up with the characters and all that. Like, each character's kind of got their little story arcs that they're following. I would like to see a little more out of the bad guys. Like, I think we're going to get more of that now because, these first few episodes is all about getting, the Defenders together. Now we're going to see the Defenders go against the Hands. Like, we're going to see exactly what they're going up against and like who they are. By the way, Alexandria, badass fighter, took down, a weakened Elektra, pretty damn easily. Years of experience right there. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, seeing Sigourney Weaver just beating up Elektra was cool. But yeah, no, that was a nice little bit there as well. But yeah, the series is ticking along well. I think it's got good. Definitely got that Daredevil feel to it. Like, it's definitely feels like another season of Daredevil, just not centered around Daredevil. But yeah, it's got that feel. Definitely the way they're shooting it and everything. It's got that feel to it. I like it. But yeah, no, definitely best episode at the moment. If it keeps going this way, you know, it's going in the upward direction. That's what we want. And especially with only an 8-episode season, it needs to get better. Kind of like Game of Thrones, it's got to get better each time, hopefully. You could have the odd one with a bit of a lull, but definitely middle needs to be epic. End's gotta be epic. Gotta be epic. So, cross our fingers that it's gonna be good. But yeah. Alright, guys. Next episode will be up soon. Probably be the last one for today. I gotta get some sleep at some point, so I'll probably have 4 up by today, and then I'll do the other 4 tomorrow. Okay? Alright, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace.